Thank you.
Are you blushing? You
he
should be blushing.
I thought he read that pretty much the same as I wrote it. So,
Oh, good,
yeah.
good, wonderful, wonderful. So nice to have you here, the man, the myth,
Thank you.
the legend, Alan Thicke. Kirkland Lake is where you're from. Is that right?
Kirkland Lake, Ontario. Anybody know it?
Really?
Yeah,
I was like, where is
they
this?
seat them at the back. That's born in far north of Ontario, and small gold mining community.
Okay, what do you remember about that time most?
I remember family values. I remember a very close-knit community. I remember going to school at 54 Below one day. Sadly, the community kind of disappeared or diminished for a couple of decades. It's on its way back now. It's a gold mining community, and they've found some new gold, and maybe more importantly, they've found new ways to mine the old slag heaps. They're now able to get more out of the old residue. So the town is experiencing a bit of a comeback. Famous for hockey players. A lot of hockey players came out of Kirkland Lake. The sad thing about the town for me now is to have heard the statistic that the town population is 10,000 and there are 15,000 in the cemetery. So the town,
that's a strange
that's
number to know.
Happening to a lot of northern communities that and now that the big metropolitan centers are growing as they are.
Wait. All I want to know, though, is there a statue of you, like just astride something, holding something very...
Actually, they do have what they call a wall of fame.
Okay.
And there are 3 guys on there. There's a hockey player named Ralph Backstrom.
Sure.
There's me. And there's a guy who won the bass fishing derby.
Oh, my God. Where is your statue? This is a travesty.
Some years ago. But I got my plaque is above the bass champion. And they were going to name a park after me.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden Shania Twain comes along.
Oh, God. That girl?
She's not even from there, for crying out loud. She's from
Please.
like 85 miles north. So now I got a park bench at the Shania Twain Memorial Recreational Center.
That is terrible. That is a terrible story.
No, I think they did that because I used to tell a joke. I used to say that the best-looking girl in town was inflatable, and I said that on TV once, and everybody was up in arms, and of course accused me of being terribly sexist. They didn't deny that.
No,
by the way.
no. They just couldn't take a joke.
It was
That's
all
cool.
in fun, and most of them got it and were okay with it. But I think that's when the park shifted to Shania.
Oh, gosh.
But the point, I mean, a long way of answering your question. I think the values of small communities are so terribly important to keep infused to whatever degree we can in our own families. I take my kids up there when I can. Mostly, unfortunately, it's for funerals now. But I do take my kids up there to see the blue skies and remind them of where we all came from, and take them to the graveyard, and it gets all sentimental and mushy. But I do think that it's a unique perspective on life and values and standards that any of us lucky enough to have grown up with any of that should keep in our DNA as long as possible.
Well, those family values that are so important to you, are they completely foreign to the whole Hollywood scene, which you have been kind of a titan of for many years? Like
I don't think so. I
career.
think that any excessive behavior is often a question of opportunity, and I'm sure that some of the decent, God-fearing folks in Kirkland Lake, given half of the opportunities that unfold themselves to people who get lucky in Hollywood, would behave the same way. But the fact that they don't keeps that community, kind of frozen in time and in a certain mindset. And I think it's great, and I'm old school that way, and I hope we never lose those kind of standards to live by.
Now, you've had such an interesting career, very unusual life, a very unusual trajectory. A lot of people didn't know that you were a writer. At first, like for people like Bill Cosby and Richard Pryor, like what, do you miss those writing days? Were you starving?
No, because I still do it. I mean, I really started, my dad's a doctor in Brampton, and I was originally enrolled in college at Western University in theology. I was threatening to become a minister.
What?
Yeah, for a minute and a half, and then
For one
Seemed
and a
like
half
it
minutes,
seemed
and
like
then
a
it
lot
was
of
over.
pressure, you know, like a lot of good behavior would be involved, and and so I ended up in pre-med and would have gone into medical school, but my dad understood that after a BA, I thought I'd take a year off and see what I could get going in the writing field, and I got lucky in that year. I wrote for CBC, and they treated me very well for a few years, and then went from there to LA. And my first decade in the business was as a writer. I wrote for Flip Wilson and Bill Cosby, Sammy Davis, Richard Pryor, and some country acts. Anne Murray, I did all of her specials. Glenn Campbell, Mike Davis, Olivia Newton-John, Barry Manilow. So I had a wonderful and full career as a writer. And I'll tell you where it, since we are among media people, one thing that I do in a college lecture, for instance, is I try to remind people how important I think it is to have a calling card, to have product. You know, there are lots of guys in the gym working out, actors, and waiting for the agent to call, saying, you know, where's my job? And then there are other guys with some what I refer to as productive insecurity, who don't wait for the phone to ring, and you try to have something that creates a meeting. And you don't have to be a writer to do that. If you're not a writer, collaborate with somebody or find a property, something that you have some passion about, that you think is a credible reason for a meeting. And then you go meet with production companies or networks or whomever. And I got very lucky, but again, calculated, on a couple of occasions by following that protocol. I had a project right after Thicke of the Night was canceled. I don't know how many people remember that or were.
Thicke with an E, got it.
Yeah, it was some terrible memories. But after Thicke of the Night got canceled, my talk show in the States, I needed to reinvent myself. So I went back to what I had done for 10 years and created a couple of show concepts, and I took them into the network, and I was having a meeting at ABC. And I cleverly knew that if I was in there, in the office, in their face, that maybe at least I'd be on their mind for something. So I'm pitching this idea, and they say, yeah, we could develop it. We kind of like this idea, but you know what? There's this other show going on that we had a meeting about this morning.
Was
They
it
don't
called
have
Growing
a name. It was called
Pains?
Growing Pains.
Oh.
They said, and you know, maybe you'd go in and read for that. Anyway, that's how I got Growing Pains. Then it was some years later when Growing Pains was off the air, the same thing happened with an NBC show called Hope and Gloria. And in fact, Les Moonves, who is now indirectly my boss, he's a part with Lionsgate of the ownership of TV Guide Network, and they're airing Unusually Thick. So a very small, incestuous community, as you know, down there. But my point was that if you have a calling card, if you have something credible that can create meetings and create activities, I recommend that for everybody at all times, rather than just
Sitting on your
rather
ass?
passively waiting for the phone to ring.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you're proactive. You're nothing if not proactive.
Yeah, scared is another word for
okay.
that. You
Yeah?
just, like I said, productive insecurity.
That's
Don't
great.
wait.
Now, do you look back fondly on that time of your life, the Growing Pains time, or are you like, oh, is it a drag to talk about?
Yeah, you know, you hear a lot of people talking about the drudgery and the hard work of a series. These are people who have never met a shovel, you know. A series, especially, not a film series on location doing a drama, you know, CSI Lethbridge or whatever, but I'm talking about for sitcoms especially, and for 4-camera shows, when you go to the same studio every day and you work banker's hours 4 days a week, what a privilege, especially in an ensemble show where you're not carrying it all. And I wouldn't admit it at the time when you're, you know, renegotiating, but the easiest, simplest, most pleasant gift I've had in life was that show.
Wow,
Yeah.
that's refreshing to hear.
Yeah, and nice people. You know, we're all still in touch. We're all still friendly, except when Kirk and I get into a Twitter war over same-sex issues.
Are you surprised by that? Just a side note, seriously, are you surprised by the whole Kirk Cameron
I was
situation?
surprised. You may not be aware. Kirk Cameron, who played my son, was on Pierce Moore, one of those shows.
He had a lot to
Larry
say.
King, and Kirk does, you know, the fundamentalist, evangelical, doesn't believe in dinosaurs or anything
Or
to do with
gays.
evolution, and he's very stout in his position against homosexuality and same-sex marriage, and after that appearance, there was a lot of Twitter activity, including asking me what I thought of it and what would I say to Kirk. And I didn't want to get into a war. I wanted people to know how I felt, my real feelings, but I also wanted to respect Kirk to express himself. So I was saying things that, I was tweeting things like, well, I think I'm gonna have to spank Kirk, although not in a gay way.
Oh my God.
and
He
I-
must have loved that. He probably loved that one.
And so my position was clear, but I didn't want to be adversarial. And I tell you what I was really amazed by, as we're all so aware now about the impact of social media on media, I was amazed at the vitriol that I saw from both sides, from the evangelicals and from the gay and lesbian community. Real anger and violent threats against each other, and unfortunate. I was taken aback a little bit by the extremism on both sides and the expressions of real absence of any understanding or capitulation in any way.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, it
kind
was a little shocking.
It's a bit. By the way, how are you on social media? Do you enjoy tweeting? Do you
I'm
Instagram?
not. I'm not good at it. I've long since been terribly bored with Facebook. I don't care what your cat ate this morning. I think Twitter has become a good medium for comics especially, and I like to follow the comics because having that discipline of saying something pertinent or funny in 140 characters, I think, is a great exercise.
Yeah.
So I'm for it. I'm not well versed. I mean, I Robin has 3 billion followers or so. I'm just slightly over the population of Earth, and I have tens of thousands. So I don't know exactly how to manipulate it, but I'm learning.
Okay. P.S. You must be incredibly proud of your son, Robin Thicke.
I
I'm black,
am,
so I've known about him for years.
No, Robin
obviously,
is,
but
funny, we still talk about some themes that I wrote with my 4 chords, and I wouldn't dare consider myself a musician in front of Robin any more than I'm a hockey player in front of Gretzky. But I'm so proud of...
But are you kidding? But the hits you've written, can we talk about those for a second?
Well, I haven't written any hits.
Well, your favorite theme songs.
Oh, yeah, theme songs I
Sure.
wrote. And I did write some songs that were recorded by the Spinners and Lou Rawls, Al Jarreau, Anne Murray, people like that. No hits, just, fillers, album fillers.
You're very modest. Well,
Well,
but like Facts
you
of
haven't
Life,
heard the songs.
I defy one person in I defy one person in this room to not sing along if I started singing Facts of Life.
Yeah, Facts of Life was a good one. I was proud of that.
Should we try it? No, you guys are off the hook. It's okay. That was a great one.
Well, I'm proud that Facts of Life is quoted now as a lyric. I see it pops up on SNL or Two Broke Girls and different shows where they're quoting the lyric as if it was some philosophical manifesto. But it pops up in a sketch where they'll say, put it this way: you take the good, you take the bad, you take them both, and there you have. And then I'm poking my 16-year-old and saying, "See, the dad wrote that."
And did he just roll his eyes, or does he like? Yeah.
No, he embraces it. He's okay with it.
Well, you were telling me over there about the first theme song you wrote, and there was a weird Alex Trebek.
Yeah, the first
connection
song, the first show I was ever invited to produce was a game show for NBC called The Wizard of Odds. And they were looking for new things, new hosts, new music, etc. So I got them a new host, Alex Trebek. I was the guy who brought Alex to the U.S. He lived with me for a couple of weeks and had a year-long run on that show. And I hired myself to write the theme song because they wanted something a little... They'd never had a daytime theme with lyrics or a little bit of a rock groove to it. So we gave them a new song.
Do you remember that one?
And...
can you recall all of your songs?
Who's the man with the money, makes a dark day sunny? Who's the man every day gives a bundle away?
Wow. Can we give it up? Give it up, Al, ladies and gentlemen.
Are they still here? Yeah. So,
gusto,
that was
good.
the theme to the Wizard of Oz, and that was my first, and it kind of led to a bunch of others. Norman Lear, hired me to produce Fernwood Tonight and America Tonight, and then I hired myself to write that song too. I was my most consistent employer.
What do you think of what do you think of Blurred Lines? What do we think of the songwriting involved? Robin said he wrote that song in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
With Pharrell.
Well, Blurred Lines was proud to say the biggest hit on the planet last year.
It was. Remember that?
Like number
it was
one
everywhere.
for 13 weeks. I was a little surprised about some of the controversy that it created, especially the topless video, because frankly, I mean, we've been seeing booty in videos for years.
You're not wrong.
And we see a lot of sexuality in music videos, and suddenly the fact that the couple of girls took their top off, and what was not it was not a lascivious or sexual video. It was
were having
purely
fun.
visual, and then everybody
They were
went
topless
crazy.
and having fun.
But it was certainly well calculated from a promotional standpoint.
Would you have done a cameo in that video?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what I would have done exactly. There's not a great demand for seeing me topless, but I could have done something.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. Well, you have 3 sons and 2 grandsons. Is that right?
I do. I have. It's all boys. There are no girls in the neighborhood. I have one son who's a rock star. You know, in my generation, it was our mantra was sex, drugs, rock and roll. So we have one in the music business. Another
Where
one
are you going with this?
who has a medical cannabis dispensary.
Really?
Yeah, so I figured if we could get the youngest one now into the porn industry, it's the hat trick.
You got them all covered.
Yeah.
You got them all covered. Fantastic. Well, your son, Carter?
Carter, yeah.
Carter is hilarious. If you haven't seen Unusually Thick, it is hilarious.
Thank you.
And I mean, you're funny too. He's hilarious. No,
I'm the wallpaper. We have 2 breakout stars on the show. Tanya, my sexy, hot, train wreck Latina wife. And
she's not in the room, is she?
And no, but I say that lovingly. She is. Our cast is not unlike the Modern Family cast. There's the older patriarch.
Sure. Much better looking.
Thank you. And there's the Sofia Vergara character.
Sure.
And there's the 16-year-old smartass. And I say that respectfully because I think Carter does a very nice job on the show. And it's his own dialogue. It is improvised. I think he has the biggest challenge because you have to walk that fine line between being a cool teenager to your peers and then still being respectful to the adults. And I think Carter does it beautifully, and he does it with great humor. I'm terribly proud of him, and I must say that of all the projects I've done, I think this would be one near and dearest to my heart because I'm getting to spend a whole year working with Carter and in his last year before he goes off to college. So a very important bonding opportunity, and very proud of him.
Oh my God! Do you tear up every once in a while thinking of all their success?
You know, it's you do get emotional seeing how your kids are doing, and you know, anybody who ever thinks that your parenting ends just because they turned 18 or 21 or they get married. I'm old enough to be here to tell you that it never stops. And when they have problems, whether it's with their health or their marriage or their own kids or their careers, it's there with you 24/7. And we're a pretty close-knit bunch, and you love to celebrate their triumphs, and their frustrations pain you.
They hurt.
Yeah.
At least Unusually Thick is a hit.
We're very happy with Unusually Thick, and the Slice Network and TVGN. They've nurtured us and encouraged us to experiment and try some things. And you know, we started the notion of that we would be a reality show, and then we started to think about it, and there's already a lot of reality shows on the air, and people are doing the belligerent, combative reality shows very nicely already. Nothing we could add to that genre. So we wanted to take the tack that it would be real people, a real family, in real situations, but we wanted to find a happy ending. Everybody should have a happy ending. Aww. So we figured we would take some family drama, but always try to laugh our way out of it and find something funny about it. And I think we've been successful to that degree. We are clearly a hybrid in that we start as a reality show, but we have to do it with a wink and create some scenes and situations, especially near the end, to wrap up stories and have us go somewhere. And I think that the audience has even kind of embraced that, trying to separate what might be fact from fiction, and they even seem to be enjoying that hybrid of real and a wink. So that's what we'll do in season 2.
Well, on that note, let's take a look at a little bit of Unusually Thick, because if you haven't caught it yet, it is fantastic. Can we do that?
They want to be coaxed, that's all. The Seavers are a sitcom family. Everything works out. In the meantime, I just want to enjoy their company. Let me make a brief toast, boys and girls. Just wanted to say that finally, after months of preparation, it's great to have our group together again, several generations of Seavers. And to those of you who weren't even born when we were rich and famous, enjoy the fruits of our labor. Great to see you all. Enjoy. Cheers.
Did you miss me at the barbecue?
You were missed. I'm sorry that you weren't around the first time around when we were actually doing that show. You would have
No, I was in school.
completely enjoyed them. Did you watch Growing Pains?
Sort of. And then I'd switch it to Alf.
Mike Seaver. I get it.
Yeah.
I like it. I can do that guy.
Yes, you
That
are.
guy.
You
He
are
was
him.
funny, that kid, Kirk Cameron.
Very
He was
funny.
funny. He
Yeah.
got all the girls.
He did,
He was
yeah.
a practical joker.
See, that was my vision. I see you as
What,
Mike
do you
Seaver.
want to make this a hit movie?
Yeah, well,
'Cause,
we
you
want
know,
to make a dud, of course.
No, yeah,
That's
yeah.
why we come to you. You're the guy.
zombie picture.
What do you mean?
Vampires. Show me the gay people.
I don't know
You
if a gay,
no?
gay vampire isn't where I was going with it.
I want to play a gay vampire as the Mike
You're
Seaver
seeing-
character, or I won't do
You're
it.
seeing sci-fi here, probably, right? I mean, that's
Sci-fi,
what I'm getting.
vampire, gay.
I love the idea. I think we need a gay vampire. There are so many vampires out there, and I haven't seen one gay vampire yet.
Well, you know, you're probably really busy. I'm not sure if
got
this
stuff.
is really going to be exactly the right thing for
Got,
it. I mean,
I'm busy.
I appreciate us chatting about this. I don't think John shares my vision on this one. Sometimes he's just more handsome than creative.
Great show.
I'll tell you how that particular scene evolved.
tell.
We were having a Growing Pains reunion barbecue at my ranch, and we were just going to play that out as a bunch of us getting together again. And Kirk Cameron didn't show, but he did send a video. But just to show the way we have to be kind of light on our feet to do this hybrid reality sitcom notion, we had to adjust to that. So I called John Stamos and I said, look, how about if we add to this idea that I wanted to pitch a Growing Pains feature film, but my Mike Seaver character, Kirk, has dropped out, so I want to come to you to be the new Mike Seaver.
Oh my
and
God.
so John played along, and we were able to ad-lib the new take on the Seaver family, which would be a vampire family, and Mike would be gay. So I haven't heard from
devilish.
Kirk since that aired.
Shocking.
But we did have to do some fancy shuffling to make a story out of that.
Oh my God. Well, the show is fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations on being so relevant right now. A lot of people are, I feel, who, they look back on their heyday and they have to cling to relevancy and try, and you just are.
No,
You
well,
just
thank
are.
you. But what I do is I bring relevant people in with me.
Smart.
Like the wife and son, and I don't count on my own relevance.
Could you have anyone on that show? Like, is there anyone you would want? Like, is there anyone who would not return your call if you could
Well,
call
so
them
far
out?
we haven't had calls not returned, but a big get for the second season is going to be Melissa McCarthy.
Oh,
Because
fantastic.
Melissa bought my house in the valley a little over a year ago. And in truth, there is a big slab of concrete in one corner of the property with my son's handprints in cement from when we did a little add-on. So Robin and Brennan, from the age of, 8 and 10 years old, memorialized in cement. And so our idea is that I want to go back and chip that out and make sure I get it. And Melissa's going to resist because now they're worth something. It's Robin Thicke's handprints.
Yeah, right.
And so we haven't got her on board yet. She's traveling a lot and promoting this wonderful new movie, Tammy. But that's the one we hope to get.
Okay. Well, I'm about to wrap up here, but I have two last questions. One, what do you think is the biggest misconception about you? Very curious about this.
Gee, I don't know. First of all, that we would have to presume that anybody thinks of me in the first place.
Sure.
And
Okay.
then they
Let's
would
take
have
it
to
there,
think
and then.
Then they would have to think of something erroneous. I don't know. My real personality, I think, is pretty close to what you might have seen as Jason Seaver on Growing Pains. Those values and those standards of how one would hope to be as a father and a family. That's pretty close to those Kirkland Lake values that I started with. So I think kind of what you see is what you get. I probably have more of a temper at times than you might assume, but there probably even been flashes of that on this show. But I think I have very few secrets.
Okay. Well, how do you want to be remembered? Is what I do want to ask. Although you kind of just answered that, but how do you want to be remembered?
Pretty corny, but I would be happy to be remembered as a good father. My kids are the most important elements of life to me, and seeing them thrive and prosper and have good health, and being in touch with them daily, hourly, is a big priority for me. So when I'm on the way to the wherever we go, I think to be remembered fondly by my kids as a good dad and somebody who gave them all my love and every opportunity I could in life, that's the most important thing. The rest of, you will all forget me soon enough. I think that yeah, our legacies are rather quickly forgotten, maybe especially in this world of social media that has so much to offer, that we really want to score with the family, and if we do that, it's been a life well lived.
I love that. We just got deep. We just got existential. Thank you so much, Alan. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hey, thank you all for coming and listening. Appreciate it. I hope you have a wonderful experience here.
We will.
I just wanted to say parenthetically, I've been here many times, but usually in the winter I hosted the Fox Sports specials, and we did a lot of celebrity charity skiing and hockey and snowboarding and all of those things. We did that about 5 times, and if you haven't enjoyed this facility in the winter, make sure you do it sometime. Quite fabulous, as beautiful as it is in the summer. The winter will knock your socks off. So anyway,
So
thanks
happy
for
to have
having
you.
us.
So happy to have you. Thank you,
Okay.
Alan. Thank you.